Aloha and welcome to day 2 of the Go Giver Gratitude Challenge Relationship Edition. I hope you enjoyed day 1 as much as I did. Today, we are diving into the second law, the law of compensation. In chapter 5, Joe meets the marvelous CEO named Nicole. She teaches him that the first law determines how valuable you are, while the second law determines how much you actually do earn. Let me ask you this. Are you satisfied with your current income? Would you love to earn more? If you answered no, then move right along past this law. If you answered yes, then I highly recommend you ponder deeply on what we have learned and what you might learn from this chapter. The second law of stratospheric success is the law of compensation, which states your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. And as Nicole shared, your compensation is directly proportional to how many lives you touch. Okay, so let's pause here and think about this question. Well, maybe many questions. It's not just one, but the questions are how many lives do you touch on a daily, monthly, or yearly basis, right? How many people do you truly serve and how well are you serving them? The first few times I read this book, this law made me cringe. I thought of having to put myself out there and it just didn't feel good, right? To reach more people and wanting, like, even though I wanted to have more of a global impact, I still wasn't sure that I truly wanted to let the world know who I was. Did I have all my ducks in a row, or did I still have some skeletons in my closet that I wasn't ready to face? Well, yeah, the answer back then was that there were some things that I still needed to work on in order to feel comfortable and safe sharing myself with the world. But I guess the deeper question here for you is whether or not you have faced all the parts of yourself that you might be trying to hide from the world. Are you ready to allow them to be seen? Do you trust that they won't make a fool out of you once they're out of the shadows? These are great questions to journal on to see if they're getting in the way of you serving more people, right? Maybe it's getting in the way of you being more public or you having a greater impact. Again, Nicole said it best. If you want more success, find a way to serve more people. It's that simple. And remember, everybody can be successful because anybody can give. The next major lesson in this, under this law and these chapters is that is when Nicole shared that she noticed that she needed to shift her belief system to match her new level of success. And Marianne Williamson said it best. Our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. This quote was originally shared with me, to me. That's my daughter over there. But this quote was originally shared with me from my mentor, my spiritual mentor. I call him my spiritual Mr. Miyagi. And when he shared this quote with me, it really struck a chord. So some of you may be afraid of failing, while others of you, like myself and like Nicole, are maybe a professional failer, right? For example, I take big risks, and that's just been things that's just, I guess, a characteristic that I have. I've been willing to and oftentimes take these risks that many people wouldn't take. And those big risks come with big falls too. So essentially, I'm not afraid of failing per se. Yes, there is a fear of failing my family and hurting them along the way and along the journey, but myself, me, I'm not afraid of failing. I know how to do that and I know how to make a comeback from it, right? It's actually the success that I'm most afraid of and what that might do to who I am. So yesterday we took a look at your beliefs and we talked about that if we don't know what our beliefs are, all we have to do is look at our results in life, right? So if you took me up on my challenge, you were journaling about what some of your current results are in different areas of your life to have a deeper understanding of your beliefs. Well, today, I want to get really specific and ask you what you believe about money. What do you believe about success? Do you believe that money is the root of all evil? Or maybe the even more clarified version of it, the love of money is the root of all evil. Do you believe that? Do you believe that there are any good, wealthy people out there? Or do you believe that can you remain good and pure if you become rich? Right? These are all questions you can journal on and ask yourself to see where your resistance to success is. So you can either pause the video here again, or you can circle back and journal after you've watched this entire video. Now here's the fun part. Nicole let us in on a beautiful technique to change our beliefs and therefore change our lives. She shares with Joe that all she needed to do to change her belief was decide. This is the way Nicole said it. She said, being broke and being rich are both decisions. You make them up, right? And she points to her head right here. Everything else is just how it plays out. And I know it's easier said than done, right? And if you're anything like me, this technique of just deciding early on, it didn't work for me. My strong mind, my hard head, rejected the possibility that I could simply make a decision and change my beliefs so quickly. I've come around and now I do believe this. However, in the beginning, it was really, really hard. And so if you're like me or how I was before, it's okay. The very first step to changing a belief is understanding where the original limiting belief came from. I like to use my inner mosaic method to find it because it allows us to uh, create a deeper and more compassionate understanding of our belief systems and of the results that we've created in our own lives based on these belief systems. But for the sake of time and wanting to make sure I keep my promise to keep these videos short, I'm going to give you a supplemental lesson around inner mosaic in your Go Giver Gratitude Challenge portal. So I'll give you access to that later today. And if you don't already have access to it now, okay? So if you don't have it yet, don't worry about it. You will get it by the end of today. But in a nutshell, once I was able to identify why I believed what I believed, I was able to acknowledge the part of me that was scared to change. Once I gave myself that acknowledgement, it was much easier to create a new narrative. So take some time today to identify old stories around money and around success that you no longer want to hold on to. If it's if it's a expansive belief about money or success, then keep it. But find the beliefs, find the stories that you have told yourself or people have told you growing up that are keeping you stuck at a level of success that you're no longer interested in. You want to up level, right? Then I want you to write a new story. Write down what you do want to believe instead. And it's okay if it feels a bit awkward at first, right? In chapter 6, Joe's work colleague, Gus, shares with him that sometimes you feel foolish, even look foolish, but you do the thing anyway. And that's what we're doing. We're going to do it uncomfortably. Is that a word? We're going to move forward even in discomfort in service of our vision, in service of the greater good, in service of our life path, right? Our sharing our gifts with the world. So be willing to look like an idiot and try on a new belief. Even if it feels awkward at first, just try it on. And just like new shoes, it may take some time to break them in, but once they do, you'll never want to take them off. Now, before I let you go, I want to answer this question. How does the law of compensation apply to your marriage? What is the income in a relationship? Is it love? Well, I believe so. I believe that it's not something that we want to keep track of or take inventory of necessarily, but love is what we seek in our relationships: connection, love, intimacy, communication, all of the things, right? And love is the overarching umbrella to what we are longing for in our relationships and why we have them in the first place. And if that's so, okay, so if we're going to call love the currency of relationships, then is it about how many people you show love that matters most? Well, I think it does matter, right? The more people you show love, the more you will receive love. But in a marriage, in your most intimate relationships, I think it's also important to know that the way that this law interprets into your marriage or your relationships is how many times you show your partner love throughout the day, right? And it's not to keep score. We'll talk about that in a later law, but what I'm saying is how many times, right? How many in the Gottman method I was trained in, it's a marriage model and modality. John and Julie Gottman created their own model that is very scientifically based, but they call it bids, right? So how many bids of love are you giving your spouse each day? Are you showing them and showering them with love? And how often are you expressing your love for those that you care about? If you want to receive love and feel love, then you will need to show love. The more you love, the more you will feel loved. And again, like we already learned yesterday, it's about giving from a full cup, not from an empty one. You are the first person you must give love to, and then to everyone else. So I'll leave you with this. Your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. How will you apply this law in your life today? How will you increase the amount of people you serve today? Don't forget to email me what you did to apply each law in your life, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now.